Today we have a really interesting case from ANTEC. This is the ANTEC P82 FLOW case. As you can see, it kind of looks all closed up for the front, but the thing is what they did, they placed on this side the power button, the reset button and all the other connections, and placed the FLOW on the top and on the other side. So today we're going to basically check out if the FLOW in the name actually stands for its title and does it really have an airflow. Stay tuned to see the results, tests and overall the design of the case. What I noticed first taking the P82 FLOW from the box is that it has really an interesting and elegant design. Now you have the gloss side here with the AIO ports on the front, which consist of power button, reset button, two USB 3.0 and two 3.5mm jacks for your audio and for your microphone. On the top you usually have those ports, right? But on the top you have an intake, and on the left side, the whole side here has the intake as well. On the bottom it also has an opening. So this is quite interesting just because you would think, oh well, it has the top, bottom and the side intake, but how many fans does it have? So here's the thing, it has four 140mm fans, three on front and one at the back. The cool thing about it is you could actually place a 420 radiator, even though the AIO doesn't exist like that, but you could place a 420 radiator in front and still have loads of space for everything else, including a huge graphic card. This is really nice. When it comes to the thing, how are you going to mount the reservoir and the pump, that is somewhat a different story. Now, they also stated that E80X motherboard can't fit, but actually I managed to squeeze in the MSI X570 Godlike, and honestly it would have fit if they placed more space on the cable shroud on the side next to the motherboard, so you can normally place the SATA cables and the USB 3.0. But that's not a negative thing, this is something that they did say it doesn't fit. I managed. You could use it with slight modification and cutting of the cable shroud, but that's not the whole point. On top you can place 240mm radiator with two fans. As far as I can see, it has loads of distance for the clearance of the RAMs and the passive cooling on the VRMs on the motherboard. I actually placed HyperX Predator RGB RAMs, and there basically isn't any issues with clearance. At the back there is one thing that you need to take into consideration. The 140 fan needs to be removed before you place the motherboard, because if for instance the Godlike motherboard has the AIO shield already attached to the motherboard, so basically between the standoff screw in the case and the fan there isn't enough space to push the motherboard inside. But when you remove the fan, place the motherboard and then place the fan back on, there's nothing left to say. Unfortunately, there's one thing that it would be really cool to have inside this case. The fans aren't PWM 4-pin connectors, they actually have only 3-pin connectors, so that's let's say a bit negative. But when you connect everything, they don't spin that fast to make some incredible noise that will actually distract you. So here is what you can do. You can basically see how much space you have here inside this case. This is incredible. You have two openings here at the bottom, you have loads of openings near the cable shroud, and on that cable shroud you can mount two 2.5-inch SSDs. At the bottom you have one bracket for 3.5-inch hard drive, and on top you can place another one, even though it doesn't have that slide cage to go with. Now, why does it have so much space? They sacrificed the back side so much. You have half a centimeter clearance for the, let's say, 8-pin EPS cable to reroute it at the back, so that's why you don't have extra space on the other side for, let's say, 2.5-inch SSDs. But what they did, they sacrificed that space to get more space on behind the cable shroud. So it kind of has the plus minus thing going on here, but that's definitely not something that you would take some into consideration and worry about, because there is a way to reroute everything. Take into mind that 24 pin does go behind the cable shroud, rerouting it right below here and above the hard drive cage directly to the power supply, and basically you don't need the backside to have so much space. It would be nice if they just pushed it a bit, but then now you could place wider cards for sure. The bottom part of the power supply shroud has loads of space. You can manage everything. As far as I can see right now, without running any tests, the front three 140mm fans really blow a lot of air going apart. The bottom fan is blowing into the power supply shroud to the power supply, the middle one is blowing to the graphic card, and the top one is pushing the cold air directly to the radiator here at the top. So guys, basically that's all there is to it for the case. Now it's time for some thermals to see how well does this case handle when the components are under full load or in game or similar to that. So let's check the temperatures of the CPU and the GPU, of course. As usual, as I always do when it comes to airflow testing in a case, I use heavy loader for the CPU, and I use some gaming just to... I'm basically not going with different games because I just need 100% on the CPU for some decent time, and I need 100% on the GPU for decent time, just to see how the coolers in the case and how the case can create an airflow with the coolers, with the fans, and to see how the temperatures will be handled with the cooling that the case has. So for instance, in heavy loader with the new ANTEC NEPTUNE 240, CPU under the hood was Ryzen 7 3700X, and heavy loader with 25 minutes of heavy load, well, 100%, it got 67 Celsius degrees, which is quite alright. I mean, we have 8 cores, 16 threads right here, and it was on 100%. When we go to the graphic card, I had to change the Radeon RX 5700 just because I had a problem with the fan on the reference model. So I placed the RX 5500 XT with two fans. This is the ASRock Phantom Gaming Edition, and in PUBG it was going up to 63 Celsius degrees, which is quite alright. So I played for, well, a very long time, and 63 degrees is quite alright. I mean, you have three 140mm fans right on front, you have one as intake, and you have two more as an outtake if you place a radiator or if you add some additional fans. Now when you look at the case like this, actually it's really nice because you have the fans which are black and white. If you go with a combination like so, going everything black and white, just going with monochrome, some sort of an, let's say, addition or color scheme, it really does look nice, and the case is really elegant. The good thing, and why the airflow is really nice in this case, is because the front fans aren't pushed to the front part of the chassis, so that makes really sense, and they can take enough air from the front just to cool down every single part, every single component inside. So guys, yeah, I mean, this case is really nice, has a nice design. The glossy part actually really does make a difference when it comes to visual aspect. You have a tempered glass on the side as well, and it cools even the Ryzen 7 3700X. I mean, okay, the AIO does a lot of work here, but you do need to have a decent intake just to get the temperatures and fresh air inside. So guys, yeah, thank you for watching this video review for the ANTEC P82 FLOW case. This is the black edition with loads of space. I'm really surprised, and you can check the prices down below in the links that I placed for you guys. Of course, if you like the video, don't forget to click the thumbs up button, subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.